Hey, this is News Rocky Kevin coming to you live today. It is the big day, inauguration day in downtown Washington, D.C. Everything's going wild down there. The Democrats are taking control of the House, the Senate, and the White House. Guys, tune in with us today. We're going to be talking about that Democratic control across the board, what that means for America, what that means for you. Get in the ring with News Rocky today. Hey guys, welcome back. This is Kevin from News Rocky, and today we are talking about the Democratic control that is taking place today across this nation, the Congress, the Senate, and the White House. All Democratic control. There's no reason that the world should not be perfect tomorrow because that's what they've been promising for the last 50 years. Guys, we're going to be talking about Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. We're going to be talking about the congressional races that took place, some of those really important races. Nancy Pelosi herself back to the top with her gavel in hand and talking the talk she's always talked. We have Chuck Schumer being considered for the senatorial sort of position of control. It's going to be very interesting to see how that works. But right now today in Washington, D.C., we have this inauguration taking place. And I will say, as a Republican and a person who voted for Donald Trump, I am certainly happy about one thing. Kamala Harris, the first female vice president of the United States, is bringing it to the nation's capital today. So we're happy about that. We're going to take some calls today, have this conversation with the callers and the supporters. Guys, we're going to go right to the line here and talk to our friend. I think we have somebody on the line. Who's on the line with us today with News Rocky?
Hey, you got Ty on the line.
Ty, you're calling in, and topic today we're talking about is the Democratic control across this nation. The Congress, the Senate, and the White House, all Democrats. And you yourself, sir, you're sort of a Democrat, aren't you?
I'm a Democrat.
You are. How long you been a Democrat, buddy?
I've been a Democrat for about 15 years.
Now you've been a big supporter. Are you out there supporting all the causes of the Democratic Party?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Because I tried to give the Republicans a shot, and they let me down every time. Every time.
Well, let me tell me. What did you think of Donald Trump? Did you like anything about Donald Trump while he was serving?
There was certain things I liked about Donald Trump, but then there was mostly a lot of stuff about Donald Trump that I didn't like. I didn't like the division that he brought, to the world. I didn't like the fact that he's gotten caught in plenty of lies. The man can't tell the truth.
Okay.
He just cannot tell the truth.
You don't think he can tell the truth? So let me ask you think Joe Biden's going to tell the truth in his 4 years in office?
Well, you know what? I know a little bit about Biden when he ran with Obama. I'm not too sure, but it can't be no worse than what we just finished dealing with. It just can't be.
Do you think that Obama should be held with any charges, possibly from the Russian Gate investigation? That information's coming out slowly about all this information that Joe Biden, and many in the Democratic Party knew about this fake witch hunt of Donald Trump. Any comment on that, Ty, from Norwich?
I don't have any knowledge about that. I've been hearing a little of this and a little of that about that, but I got to do a little bit more research.
Oh, you do a lot of research, do you? What do you do for work, sir? What's your thing?
What do I do for work?
Yeah.
I do landscaping. I'm a landscaper.
Oh, you're a landscaper.
I know we're losing our jobs.
Well, what do you mean? What do you mean by that, sir? I mean, we're talking here today with News Rocky. Ty is a landscaper.
All small businesses are closed now.
Why?
It's the rich get richer and the poor get poorer now, and it just doesn't make any sense to me. All right, everybody else is living well in America, but the Americans. Okay, they're giving out all these surpluses to all these different countries, and it's just not right. What about us? Did you see that line for food for Christmas in Texas?
Yeah.
Thousands of people have lost their job.
Right.
Has lost their job. I mean, it can't be any worse. We're at the bottom right now. And the only one way we can go, and that's to the top. So I'm ready to give the Democrats a shot now.
Okay, well, Ty, thank you for the call today. Look forward to you contributing to the News Rocky Show. Definitely call in again, and thank you for your comments. And good luck out there with your landscaping business. So that was Ty that was calling in, landscaper, talking about Democratic control. He is actually happy about the Democratic control. He's optimistic that they're going to have the solutions to the problem. Interesting, though, Ty talked a little bit about sort of an anti-immigration policies. Do you guys pay attention today? Yesterday, within the last 72 hours, there is a major caravan of people heading towards the border. This caravan is, they say, about 10,000 deep, and our now president, Joe Biden, has made some public comment about what he's going to do, welcoming them to the border, to America, but just telling them to be a little bit patient. You know, the interesting part is, guys, these guys are actually down there, and they're having like riots and all this stuff going on. I'm kind of nervous to see what's going to happen under the Biden administration with regards to allowing these folks into the country. So we're going to go right to the lines. Again, this is News Rocky Show coming to you here. This is the big day. Democrats take control across the House, the Senate, and the President of the United States and Vice President. On the line today, I think we have Devin. Devin, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. So we've been having a conversation today for the show on News Rocky about this Democratic control. All three, chambers are going to be controlled. The presidency, obviously the Congress and Senate. This is interesting. Any comments or concerns from you on the Democrat control?
It definitely concerns me. I mean, they've been working towards this for a long time now. Mm-hmm. And as you can see, they finally have it in the ball's in their court. What they choose to do with it, I'm hoping that it'll benefit America. But as you can see, before Biden's even taken the presidency, he's already making promises that he can't even keep.
What do you mean by that?
We have a huge issue right now with Hondurans and Guatemalans making, migration to the U.S. border because of promises of some type of open border policy that he's going to implement.
How do you think that's going to impact this country, already stressed with a lot of the programs? How is that financially and sort of actually? I'll say, a lot of folks want to criticize Donald Trump for saying that the bad come here, but there is a crime boost typically when we see these large groups of immigrants come to the country. Any comments?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, when you're incentivizing that as a president, I mean, people are going to take that for face value. You already see, around 10,000. Migrants coming to the border, and now they're trying to retract and redact what he said because his advisors said that he poorly misspoke and kind of incited these people to just, rush along and basically bum rush the border. But in terms of it affecting the economy, it definitely will. I mean, you have people pouring into the country at a faster rate than we can even, lower our unemployment rate.
Devin, what do you do for work, Devin?
For me, I work over as a event coordinator and bartender. Okay. At a local venue.
Very cool.
Over
So you call yourself an average everyday guy, the American, right? Do you think America has been lied to at all by, let's say, say it like it is, either Democrat or Republican promises that are never kept? Do you feel that's just going to continue under this Biden administration?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's more, and now it's even more corporatized. So, I mean, you talk about like state jobs right now are already scarce, and they're talking about phasing out and putting in automation. So the jobs that you once held or were on the table are going to be phased out, and then if you have more people coming here to compete for those jobs, not that it's a bad thing. If you come here legally, I don't think there's no issue with that. And it's a big slap in the face to the immigrants that have come here legally and have did the path to citizenship, which, mind you, took 13 years. Biden's plan is to implement an 8-year policy, so he's lowering, that threshold to becoming a citizen in citizenship.
Kind of crazy when you think about it. They don't even have enough staff to handle this process as we speak today. How you're going to speed it up? What are they going to do? Are they going to cut corners and get the more dangerous immigrants to come here? Even through the legal process. Devin, I want to ask you, what did you think of the Trump administration and its last 4 years serving America?
I thought there were some great facets to what he had done and implement, but it was overglossed by all of the horrible rhetoric, trying to impeach him, I mean, right now they're talking about the Steele dossier, which they're giving more, context to, and it goes to show there was definitely collusion between Obama, Hillary, and the former the former FBI director in looking into Trump's campaign, how he conducted himself. They were trying to dig deep for anything that they could to get him out of the White House, and it's really sad because if they focus more on the economic drivers that he implemented as far as lowering the unemployment rate on all across the board for all ethnicities everywhere. It's sad that you don't hear more about that.
What do you think about cancel culture? I'm gonna throw these at you quick because I got more callers in the bank. We're on the phone with Devin here calling in, and you are what part of you're in Connecticut? Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're calling in. So what do you think about cancel culture? What do you think about this concept of canceling?
It's very, very, very dangerous. You see where we're at now. I mean, if you look back 15 years ago, there was not such a thing. I mean, comedians even have to walk on eggshells before they can say anything. So it's getting to the point where if you even allude to something or you misspeak, you could be canceled. You could be canceled. And the more of a platform that you have and the more influence you have, the worse it's just going to be.
You think David Chappelle could survive in the cancel culture world with his kind of comedy? I mean, come on.
They've already talked about taking down certain parts of his show on Netflix, even though they have a deal with him. So that's just, to me, that's sad. You're silencing people, and that's infringement on our First Amendment rights.
100%. Hey, listen, Devin, I want to thank you for calling in today. We're going to go to some other callers. I definitely want you to call in, contribute to the show. We love your comments, and have a great day. So basically, we're looking at, so much going on in this country. We have this amazing new energy, right? And it's not really new, is it? You have the Democratic House, Senate, and as we said, the president and vice president. Some are speculating that this president, Joe Biden, won't be in office for very long, that actually Kamala Harris, the vice president, and again, I can extract myself from the party politics. I can extract myself from the personal issues I have, but I can't extract myself from what's going on in Washington, D.C. And I am happy that Kamala Harris, a female, is now the first vice presidential, officer who's taken this position, and she is potentially going to take over that presidency. The speculation is Joe Biden won't make 4 years. I think we have another caller here, and we're going to go to the line. Brian, is that you on the line? Brian? I think you're going to have to call back. So every now and then we have a caller that, certainly we can't get the folks to call in the right way, so we just deal with it on the fly. I'm sure they'll call back. But as we're talking, guys, about this whole concept of what's going on in Washington, D.C., it certainly is something, and I think we now have Brian. Brian, you there, bud?
Yes, I am.
Hey, buddy. So listen, thanks for calling in today. Where are you calling in from here in Connecticut?
I'm actually driving. I'm outside of Hartford, heading back to my farm. So.
You're a farmer, so that's awesome. We're talking today about the Democratic control in the House, the Senate, and the President. This is a big deal. If the Supreme Court was actually Democratic control, which is not thanks to Donald Trump, we would be in a dangerous territory. What do you feel today as this president has taken office and his administration is off running?
Well, I'm going to throw a monkey wrench into this because, let's think about this. Have the Democrats really ever lost control? They have put their claws into everything to where even when we feel we have control, we really don't. So it comes down to how, as an American, do you stand by and allow this to continue happening? Or, what do we do? You hear everybody talking about 1700s, we fight against tyranny, and we're in 2020, 2021. Does that really happen? What can we do, Kevin?
Well, listen, it's news, Rocky. By the way, don't make me punch you with one of my gloves.
I am so sorry, News Rocky.
I'm just joking with you, Brian. Here's the bottom line. I think that the issue that takes place in this country, we talked with the previous caller, about the cancel, culture. There's a movement now that says that if I speak one way, and that's the Democratic liberal control way, we don't want to hear anything else. What do you think about like Parler and all these other, sort of platforms? Donald Trump, the president of the United States, the 45th, has been taken off of these platforms. This is First Amendment rights. This is what starts our rights in our democracy. What do you think about that?
Where do we go from here? I mean, who do we complain to? It's not like we can go to the principal and say, I've been treated badly by this teacher, because, again, to my original point, the Democrats never lost control. They always have their seated people in wherever there needs to be. So I really don't know how to answer these questions besides knowing what I, as an American, should do, and which is raise awareness to the fact that there are some issues going on in the government that do not exactly fit our narrative as a majority who voted for Trump. And we are a majority.
What do you think about what took place in Washington, D.C.? This, and I want to ask this question in full clarity. Not only the incident that took place at the storming of the Capitol, this peaceful protest that went on, but after that, this attack by what I think are, the evildoers. I think they were wrong to do what they've done. But what do you think about actually this impeachment? Less than a week, they impeached the president for the second time.
It was already planned. It was already planned.
You think so?
I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, you have multiple rallies of Trump supporters that have gone off over the past 4 years, and there has not been you can't even compare. It's like a mustard seed to a mountain, where you compare what has happened in these rallies versus BLM or anything else that is going at these liberal rallies, the Antifa rallies, whatever. Portland, Seattle. When is it going to stop? Who do we go to where we can finally say enough is enough as the American people? How do we get this to stop?
Are you a patriot? Are you a patriot?
I am a patriot.
So are you willing to step up?
Absolutely. I served my country.
You did. Thank you for your service, Brian, and thank you for calling in today. I want to tell you, we appreciate your call. Definitely something that we appreciate about our callers are the special way they're able to articulate their points. I think it's really amazing that we have all this energy going on. We're going to keep on these lines coming in, and we're looking to have people call into the News Rocky Show. As we're talking about, actually, I think our caller, if you can turn off that behind you, that'd be great. Who's on the line? Mike, where are you calling in from today?
South Carolina.
South News Rocky isn't bang. We need to get a map up to the production team, so every time we get a caller from somewhere in the country, we're going to put it on the map of the News Rocky map. Hey, welcome to the ring today. What are you doing down in South Carolina now that you have a Democratic-controlled House, Senate, and President?
Well, I mean, I'm sure you guys realize it really impacts our state quite drastically, because we've had some of our in-state Republicans sell out.
Down in South Carolina, you're talking about the senators and folks, the congressmen and women who actually, in the Republican side, who actually went and sided, right, with this policy and this impeachment process. What do you think about the impeachment process, Mike, in South Carolina?
Well, I think down here it's pretty much known that Mr. Rice is in bed politically. He doesn't come from much money, and suddenly he's a rich guy from making money in politics and making side deals. And I think the Democrats threatened to expose him and ethically go after his financial resources, which won't validate the amount of money he has in these companies that he doesn't even own. So,
interesting.
You know, they put that pressure on him, just like they always do. You know, the deep state, sir. That's how it works. So
down in South Carolina, what is the feelings down there? Are people angry, upset that they now have a Democratic-controlled across the board Senate, Congress, and President? Are they feeling happy about Kamala Harris? What do you think about that, Mike, in South Carolina?
You know, I don't think the issues with Kamala Harris as much as it is with Mr. Biden, who everybody knows has never done anything in his 47 years of politics. But with that said, the other problem here is in South Carolina is they love Nikki Haley, so you're going to see her emerge as a possible candidate. And she's gone public and said that she's having set up research committees already. And I think she's willing to go after all these Democratic governors and all these Democratic politicians who try to hold people at bay. And, you know, she worked in NATO for President Trump.
Right.
So, you know, her loyalty to the Republican Party, she's got an excellent track history. So people are very upset down here. This is not setting well with, you know, the fact that they went and corrupted the voting system. And, you know, everybody's aware of the situation. There's a lot of military here, tons actually here. And this is, you know, we went red fast. This is a very conservative state, high religious beliefs. It's the Bible Belt, you know. So when you look at things that are going on now nationally, I mean, you know, South Carolina is going to come out fighting. I can tell you that.
Let me ask you, down in South Carolina, you've had the COVID situation. You had this noise about Donald Trump and his administration. How are the people down there? Are they frustrated? Are they patriots ready to start sort of, you know, taking back their country?
Yeah, they are. And I'll tell you something. When all that COVID stuff hit and everybody was going crazy and governors up north and governors from all the Democratic states were going against the president, our governor, McMaster, went online and he went on national TV and said, we will follow the order of the President of the United States. We'll do things that are in the best interest of the state of South Carolina and its public. And we will wear masks where we need to and from. But we will not shut down and lose our economy and lose people's rights for business and work. And it's funny, as you fast forward, we stayed open in most cases with moderation, reduced moderation, of course, but reduced numbers in restaurants and different venues and gyms, including gyms. And really, this is a tourism industry in a lot of ways in South Carolina, between Charleston and Myrtle Beach and, you know, even all over the place down here. So Columbia, South Carolina. So at the end of the day, you know, we've done a good job and we don't have an overwhelming amount of COVID. And I think it's just because people can be adults and be responsible here.
Mike down in South Carolina on the phone with the News Rocky Show. Mike, let me ask you, does Biden make all 4 years as the president of the United States?
No way. Not going to happen. He's in for a big surprise.
Do you think the media is going to turn on him like they did on they didn't turn on Donald Trump, but they attacked. Do you think they'll turn on him?
They always do. Of course they will. The media's always going to do what's best in their interest for their views and to get the most people to watch them and believe their fake news.
And, hey, we're going to end it on that. Mike from South Carolina, couldn't end it on a better point. You're listening to News Rock. We have some great engagement today. And I think the best part about today's show is we're just having a flat out sort of, hey, let's have a conversation about what's going on, not just in this country, but across this country. We had a caller right there from South Carolina, and the News Rocky Show is coming to you from downtown Norwich. That's right. So we got a couple other callers, I think, calling in, and we'll continue this conversation today, talking about the Democratic control in the House, the Senate, and the presidency. And I believe on the phone we're going to have Rick. Rick, how are you today, and where are you calling in from, sir?
Niantic, Connecticut, and I'm doing great.
That's good, brother. So on this sort of day, and, you know, the News Rocky Show, I know you watch us. I know you pay attention, and I appreciate it. But we want to ask you, how do you feel about the Democratic total control of your country?
It's actually quite scary for me. I have 4 kids between the wife and I, and we have 3 grandkids. And the way this country's going, I don't know what's going to be left for our grandkids.
Do you feel like right now with this administration coming into sort of the total control, that there's going to be a big push maybe for, say, the socialist movement of the AOCs? Or do you think there'll be that kind of infighting between this Democratic Party in control?
No, I think at this point, these leftist extremists have taken control. I think the last 4 years AOC was kept somewhat under control, but now that the last couple months have transpired, it's just she's gone off the deep end.
What do you think about America? Are you happy with your America? Is this the America you envision to enjoy your life here in, or are you fearing your rights and the cancel culture is going to take what you believe is the American way from you?
I think right now at this point, none of us know what's going to happen. Other than it doesn't look good. It looks like we're going down a road that most of our rights are going to be taken away, and it's just a shame. We worked on, you know, a lot of this country was formed from the generation that's now passing on. My wife works in nursing homes, has dealt with them for a long time, and that generation built this country on love and honor of country and everything they fought for is being taken away.
Do you know, let me ask you, the previous administration, Donald Trump, were you a supporter of that president, the 45th president?
I was a supporter of Donald Trump. I will tell you that I think as a businessman, he ran this country tremendously. He brought back people off unemployment. The numbers were just crazy as far as your working people out there. He put people back to work. Now, do I think he tweeted a little too much and he wasn't the best speaker? Absolutely, but none of us are perfect.
All right, well, so let me ask you this. What was the worst fake news story about Donald Trump that you believe that was pushed a narrative through the corporate media and possibly the Democrats?
I think the whole Russia collusion was the worst thing that I've ever seen happen in this country. How an administration can spy on another American, an incoming president, and get away with it is just completely absurd.
Do you think there's going to be? Do you think this is going to be proven, or is this going to be once? Obviously, now this new administration, everyone's have control. How are we going to get this information out to the people?
That's the scary part. I think right now, with the media being controlled by the far left and only by a couple owners that push a certain narrative,
you call them owners? Did you say owners?
The owners of the media.
Okay.
What is there, two owners that own most of our media in this country?
The corporate media across the board. What do you think about the First Amendment rights, even in private industry, being denied to the President of the United States, 45, Donald Trump, being taken away his Twitter account and all the other platforms, and shutting down of Parler? Any comments on that, Rick from Niantic, Connecticut?
I had a Parler account myself. And I think it's absolutely absurd that we can take someone's freedom of speech away. And I think these platforms that had anything to do with this should be completely shut down.
I appreciate that.
What they did was illegal. And if you cannot have free speech in this country, what do we have left?
I agree with you. The News Rocky Show coming to you live here from the PyHop studio in downtown Norwich. We have Rick from Niantic, Connecticut, talking a little bit about this Democratic control movement. This is now really sort of become official. There is no doubt here in this country things are going to change. Rick, I want to ask you, what is the number one thing you think is going to be the first priority that's going to change your life under this administration?
I think it's already happening with free speech. I think at this point, you take away everyone's free speech, you're now controlling everything in this country. You're going to have people out there that are uninformed. We live in a society that people just go to their phones and look at fake news and think it's real. And they don't do their homework. They just rely on these newscasters and whatever they say is gospel. And what happens next?
I agree. This is why we have News Rocket. We're going to try to bring the information of the day to you. And, I want to say thank you for you calling in today from Niantic. Please be a contributor in the future, Rick. And hey, are you a patriot?
I'm a patriot. And I just want to say, Kevin, what you're doing right now is awesome. And I appreciate it as a patriot. And there needs to be more people like you out there.
Well, we thank you very much, Rick, from Niantic, Connecticut, for that call and those compliments. And I certainly think that when you look at what we are doing, what we're trying to do here on this show is bring the viewers, bring the listeners, bring the supporters and the fans together for a conversation. And I'll promise you, I don't deny Democrats from a conversation. We will get in the ring with anybody to talk about something. Rick brought up something about fake news. Fake news, this is what the News Rocky concept is. We take on, talk about the news of the day, current events, and we do take on the fake news. The unfortunate part about fake news, it is so divided across this country. You can get CNN on one side, you can get Fox News on the other, CNBC, CBS, all these corporate medias, they've teamed up. And what they've been able to do, and they pulled it off sort of masterfully, they have been able to pull off a total control of the media. I want to ask you guys, the viewers of News Rocky, do you remember when we had the issue down in Washington, D.C., and when the storming of the Capitol? Do you remember President Trump's speech? You know why you don't remember it? If you watch CNN, if you watch any of the other media outlets, the corporate media outlets, other than Fox News, or any of those social media platforms that covered that event, you would have heard a very limited speech. You would have heard storm the Capitol. You would have heard, run up there, let them be heard, let you be heard, let them know you're here. But you wouldn't have heard the exact end of that statement, which was, go there, peacefully protest, be heard. He said that day. And what do we have happen? Less than a week, an impeachment trial took place. Guys, it's a farce. It's a shame. And if you're a Democrat and liberal out there, I want to hear how you justify that kind of control here in this great country. And I got to tell you, we're going to continue down the road here with some other callers. We're lining up people here. We're talking about the Democratic control of the House and the Senate and Congress, and certainly something that's going on across the country with a new president. Hey, guys, we're obviously here, and I think on the line is Dawn.
Yes, I'm here.
Dawn Matos, and I if you don't mind me saying, is that okay that I said your name?
Absolutely.
Okay, because, I don't want to out you and, put your last name, but you actually, and the callers, the listeners of News Rocky might recognize your voice and also understand you've been a contributor. You are a very strong supporter of Donald Trump and his administration. Is that true?
Yes, I am.
And you're proud to say it?
Absolutely.
How do you feel today knowing that President Biden and Kamala Harris, the vice president, and I have thrown it out there to some people's chagrin that I think today the one thing I can say is I'm happy for my daughter that the first, actually, vice president of the United States, Kamala Harris, is taking office. Any comments on that as a woman?
As a woman.
Well, you are a woman, right, Dawn?
Yes, I am a woman.
All right, there you go.
I do applaud people that can outward defend their choices, but that would not be my choice for a role model for my daughter if I had a daughter.
So you're saying, so you're not really happy with this first vice presidential position, the woman. You're not very happy with her position here in office as the vice president. Is that correct? You'd rather have somebody maybe, who would you rather have in that position as a woman, first-time vice president?
First-time vice president. I like Candace.
Candace Owens, right? So you like her, but she has to run. Do you think she's going to run for office? Candace Owens, of course, the Connecticut native who is very outspoken against the Black Lives Matters movement and the Democratic Party. You like her for a possible candidate down the road?
Absolutely. To me, when I think role model, that's what I vision.
How are you? Have you been a Republican your whole life, Dawn?
I have not. No, I did a walk away in January.
You walked away, you say you're a walk away in January of 2020 or 2021?
2020.
2020. You walked away from the Democratic Party. Are you actually a Republican, independent, unaffiliated?
As of recent, I think I'm going to go on board with the majority of people that feel we need to start our own party as being a patriot.
So you're thinking that the Patriot Party is the way you're going to go?
Right, because independent, of course, you can't vote in the primary, and
Right.
I think it's very important that we do that, so that we can promote our choice. And if I remain independent, of course, it takes me out of the primary. So I had to pick one, and when I saw Pelosi disrespect the House and tore up the speech, I was in our local town hall that very next business day.
Switching parties that very night. So you're talking about one of the speeches from Donald Trump, the president of the United States, 45, and as Nancy Pelosi behind him was ripping up the document in a really, that was a really turning point, I think, in our country's democracy. And I'm glad you bring that up because we talk on News Rocky often about comparison. Dawn, I don't want to go down the road of saying all Democrats are evil because they're not. But I do want to say, I want to ask you. You probably read the book or saw the movie, The Lord of the Flies, right?
I have.
So do you not think this is sort of the concept here that's going on in this country? It's the control now has gone to their heads to the point where they literally will justify, the assassination, and I mean physical assassination of anyone who counters their points. This whole thing of cancel culture. How do you feel this Democratic control, Congress, Senate, and presidency is going to affect your life going forward?
I think it's affecting all of our lives. I noticed, myself included, people are very heightened, whether it be nervous, anxiety, anger, and the division is real. I mean, as you know, I went to D.C. on the 6th and went to support my president and my beliefs. And you actually called me when CNN released the footage that there were these gunshots out on the grounds and people were, running in chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in disbelief when you called me because that is not what 99.9% of the people were doing.
So let's Dawn, you bring up a really good point. I thank you for sharing that with the News Rocky folks, and they probably remember your voice from the day you're speaking of is this march on the Capitol. I talked a little bit earlier, and I don't know if you caught it. When you hear the speech from Donald Trump that day, I don't know if you were in attendance, you had ability to hear it. And of course, with the platforms being shut down and the censorship, it's important that we talk about it. The Democratic-controlled corporate media on one side has been promoting one conversation that he was supporting this. It is supported in the impeachment process. But the actual footage shows that this president, 45th, Donald Trump, said peacefully protest. Be heard, but don't be violent.
Exactly. And I keep telling people, I understand what the news is showing us. And if I could take time for the people that want to watch my videos on my phone that I personally took, I am happy to explain to them what it was I saw, and it was peaceful. And I'm not saying there weren't bad actors up on the platform.
Mm-hmm.
And now we know there were bad actors filming things before the event even actually took off.
Dawn, I want to take you up on that. I think we'd like to do is get that footage sent in, looking over the production team. Hopefully we can get that footage in here. We can get that up, and we also will reach out to some of the other folks who are down there because, I think there's a lot of concept going on between people right now. If you're on one side of the party conversation, you're thinking, well, this was just a total anarchist moment where actually we've seen people who support Donald Trump want to basically do an overthrow of the government. And you're saying to me 99% of the people on the ground, millions and millions of people were speculated. They were peaceful. Is that what you said?
They were very peaceful. They were, what surprised me the most? I'm very observant. And what I noticed is if you're a believer of God, it was amazing how many Christians were on ground there.
What about people of other races? Because, we hear often about this president being a racist, this president being, a homophobe, this president being, you go down the long list of things that they want to accuse President Donald Trump, the 45th president. Unfortunately, Joe Biden's our president today, going forward here. But, what do you think about that? Do you think that there was people of different cultures and backgrounds that were actually there supporting Donald Trump that day?
Very, very diverse. It's funny because your African American people are very, they're put in a box too, unfortunately. And, there's the black race that condemns them for being patriots. And I applaud the patriots that are sticking up for their beliefs. And the most I've seen there, as far as the religious part goes, it was interesting that predominantly it was Asian Christians. And I contribute that to them knowing what communism is and recognizing what communism is. I could not help but notice how many Christian Asians that were handing out tracts.
What part of it? You say Asians, though, Dawn. When you were down there and you were giving reports that day, we will rebroadcast that event. That was a major event, historic event. You're saying Asians were Chinese Asians? I mean, where were they from in the Asian continent?
Chinese, and they were handing out tracts. Which, for people that don't know what tracts are, they're biblical, usually pamphlets.
Mm-hmm.
So I contribute that to that they would know what communism is more so than us, right? I think we're being introduced to it, but that struck me as interesting. And as I had mentioned to you before, that whole day just did not seem right. And I have been working with someone in the military on some footage that I captured.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much of the story you want me to tell.
No,
about
you
that,
can listen. This is a story about the Democratic control, the House, the Senate, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. They listen. I'm not saying they won fairly, and I'm not saying that they won correctly. I'm saying they are the winners, and we now have a country that is total control. But I want to hear your story, because your story is part of that sort of pushback, and you believe this entire process that Donald Trump was going to be victorious. How did that make you feel? How did that make you feel, knowing that now, obviously, he's got the second impeachment, and he's also possibly going to be actually through the Senate, they're trying to do, and even knowing that this is really not constitutional, that they're going to try to railroad this guy less than a week trial in the House. This is unprecedented. How does that make you feel as a patriot?
Anybody who actually rereads the Constitution like I did, I haven't touched it since I was a kid, and I've reread it. I'm very grateful for this administration for, really pointing out to us it's important that we do the research, and they want us to do the research. I think President Trump was hoping that our senators, and especially our vice president, would have followed the Constitution on what it says when there is a discrepancy or voter fraud has been presented. To me, I'm just astonished that people don't realize they hear from the mainstream media that, there's no proof. And we all know if there's a criminal and we have to go to court, your case is heard and then there's judgment. These cases were never heard. And what people don't realize is you can go to this website and view the evidence. You can view the videos. You can view the affidavits. It's all there for the public. And the president and his administration has encouraged the people to dive into this and do the right thing. He's asking us all to do the right thing.
Let me ask you, Dawn, from Connecticut, a participant in the event that took place very recently down in Washington, D.C., obviously to support Donald Trump. Dawn, let me ask you this. What's the biggest fake news story that took place over the last 4 years in the presidency of Donald Trump that you think has changed the future of America?
I think it's our social media. I think it's mainstream media, social media, because they go hand in hand. It has caused a division to people that I beg my own family, I beg my own friends, is just turn it off and start doing some of the research yourself if you really want to know. And if people would just take the time to form their own opinion, because I can't say I'll always vote Republican because I supported a Democratic local elections here. Mm-hmm. I'm led to the passion and to the abilities of the person, regardless of party affiliation. It just so happens that this president is a Republican, and I have done so much research on him that I feel he is going to be a 2-term, 2 impeachment, another 4 years.
You think so?
So until my president tells me he has conceded,
yeah,
I believe in the Constitution, and I think there's a lot of things still going on behind the scenes that will come to light very shortly. Well,
I appreciate that, Dawn, and you're calling in and you're giving your experience that you had down in Washington, D.C. You're giving your opinion.
Thank you.
I just want to finish up on this one thought, and we're sort of getting towards the end of the show, and I appreciate all the contributors today on News Rocky. Dawn, you're a woman who supports someone that is categorized as a sexist, a homophobe. So down the list of things that are attached to Donald Trump. How does that make you feel as a woman? And do you think it's purposeful that they use these types of terms against him?
Well, I've had people call me all sorts of names too, and it's disappointing. It's disappointing that
are you a sexist?
Are misled. I am not.
Okay.
I am not. Not at all.
Okay. Well, I didn't mean to disrupt, but I'm saying the point is that we had a president that was attacked from day one, and you probably remember this. Again, winding down here on the News Rocky Show with Dawn, we're talking about, sort of this Democratic control movement. She's not going to concede until her president actually concedes. Thank you for that comment. But let's face it, the bottom line is we are now outnumbered. If you're on a conservative Republican side or you supported President Trump, this Democratic Party can pretty much do anything they want. What's the scariest thing under this administration that you're afraid of?
It's already here, my friend. Communism. It's already here.
Okay. So you believe we're living in communist days. And you know what, Dawn? I want to thank you for coming on. And please, can we talk offline about getting those videos, getting you to come on again? Let's talk through those videos that you took, if you're willing to do so.
Absolutely.
Oh, definitely. So the News Rocky producers will be getting out and getting in touch with you really soon. Dawn, thank you again for participating today. Guys, you're listening to this News Rocky show, and I got to tell you, the Democratic-controlled Congress, the Senate, obviously, after that Georgia runoff race, very big Georgia runoff race, we had to see all this antics and a lot of money spent in Georgia to make sure that those Democratic seats could actually take control. And I want to give credit to Georgia. This is a very, very historic event. The Georgia actual vote and the Senate taking control now has changed the whole pathway. You heard what Dawn just talked about. You actually heard what Rick talked about and Mike from South Carolina talked about. We had Ty in the beginning. We had Devin calling in. We had Brian calling in. Today has been a great show on the News Rocky Show for participation. But the thing that I heard is a common theme, and I'm quite honestly, even from Ty, who was probably the one Democrat, or we had two maybe liberal-minded folks that were on with us today, was that now we have an immigration policy that is pretty much open-door policy. That is going to affect not just your quality of life here in this country, your taxes, you know, if you want to look at it from that perspective, but it's also going to affect your education system for your children, your grandchildren, the next generation. And what do I mean by that? We have states in this country. We have cities in this country. By the way, in most situations, Democratic-controlled cities and states that are actually denying the rights of the youth in those communities to even have the technology necessary for education in many communities across this country. For example, right here in the city of Hartford in Connecticut, where we're coming from, Pi Hop Studio at Downtown Norwich from, we know that in Hartford, they don't have enough laptops and technology is very scarce. But yet we're going to put millions and billions and trillions of dollars towards a welcome mat to the immigrants of this country to come here illegally. This is kind of a concept that needs to be fleshed out. What else is going to happen under this Democratic-controlled House and Senate and President? What's going to happen to your gun rights? You guys that are listening to the News Rocky Show, I know you care about your guns because America, fuck yeah, we don't want our guns taken away, right? We don't want that happening here. But do you think this administration is going to come after your gun rights? I personally think they are. They've already made mention. Right here in the state of Connecticut, we have a very special couple senators. My favorite guys are Twiggy and Baby Arms, and now I'm referring to Twiggy, which is going to be the Dick Blumenthal, Twiggy. And then we have the other senator, Chris Baby Arms Murphy, who both have already publicly come out and said they can't wait to push this anti-2A agenda. Guys, if you're not listening, and you know what? Up here in this part of the state of Connecticut, up in the 2nd Congressional District, where Joe Courtney has been so successful to convince all those people voting for him that he's the down-to-earth guy and he's going to support you. But remember one thing about Joe Courtney up here, you folks who voted for Joe Courtney in the 2nd Congressional District, crisscross applesauce was down on the Congress floor when it came to gun reform, and we are going to see this happen again. Are you worried about your gun rights? I think you should be under this administration. What else is going to happen under this administration? Again, Congress, Senate, the president, vice president, the entire enchilada is coming to you with one view. It's a cancel culture view. It means anything you think outside of the box or historical that might be counter to today's movement. And when I mean movement, it just doesn't mean Black Lives Matters. You know what? I feel bad for Black Lives Matters, and I'm going to tell you why. Their cause is noble. Their cause is right, and their cause should be out in front of it every day and night. But you know what the problem is? It's been commandeered by a concept of political corruption. And what's happened to that? They've tried to push this agenda of socialism and communism, and they've taken this real issue that America has denied to take advantage of, an opportunity under President Barack Obama, who some want to say was the best president of the United States. Well, I do think he was one of the most genuine, honest guys. I didn't like his policies. I didn't appreciate his presidency. I didn't want him as my president, but I supported him as my president. And he made a lot of crucial mistakes. I think one of the biggest mistakes he made, he had an opportunity to get the racial issues of this country back on track, at least on track for the first time, and he failed, quite honestly, folks. And now we have this president, the 46th, Joe Biden, claiming that he's going to solve the problems. He's the actual president for the black people of this country. Candace Owens and many other critics of this president, many critics of the Democratic-controlled policymakers, they have come out and said, no way, not in my country. Guys, you've been listening to News Rocky today. We came to you live from the Pie Hops studio. We're downtown Norwich, right here above the Pie Hops restaurant. This is part of the Helms Media Group and also the Forward Television Network, which I think is really growing huge, guys. Pay attention to this. You're going to see a lot of content coming out in 2021 right from this very studio in downtown Norwich. We talked about the Democratic control across the board. The inauguration took place. We are now led by control party politics. Your censorship, your voice can be censored, just like the president. Think about it, guys. As we part ways today on the News Rocky Show, I want you to put your heads on the pillow tonight and think about this very thought. They shut down the President of the United States, the former 45th President Donald Trump. They took away his social media platforms. They took away his ability to communicate to the people on an open market. Yes, it's a actual business that we don't want to infringe the First Amendment on the rights of the people. But this free rights of the people have been denied to Donald Trump, the president who now is going to be out there campaigning over the next 4 years for the 2024 election. Guys, you've been listening to News Rocky today. Great show. Had a great time. Callers, you did amazing. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Tune in. We're going to be talking more about the fake news and news of the day on News Rocky. Get in the ring.